Everyone, and welcome to today's Equity Outlook. I know many of y'all are looking at the red background and find it relatable in the current market. But with tariff tensions escalating, markets have been on the edge. Many investors are anxious about what lies ahead. The big question on everyone's mind: how will the upcoming tariff war impact global growth and India's economy? To help us make sense of it all, we have our Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Sunil Damania, who will share his expert insights on what these developments could mean for your investments. Will mid and small caps sustain their strong momentum? What key market trends should you keep an eye on in the coming months? But before I hand over to Mr. Damania, a quick announcement. All our current offers are ending at midnight, and the new pricing will take effect with the start of the new fiscal year. If you'd like to subscribe or extend your membership at the existing rates, please use the link below. And with that, over to you, Mr. Sunil.
Thanks a lot, Jason, and very warm welcome. I know the word warm welcome, when the sentiments are really bad, it doesn't helps you, But I think the beauty of the market is that market, sometimes people say buy on news and sell on, buy on rumor and sell on news. The news came, market did not react very negatively, Indian market. But today, I think market did have a lot of reaction, and remember, this event will get unfolded in various parts. It's an ongoing event. It's not the picture abhi baki hai mere dost. This complete tariff saga it's going to take its own sweet time. It's not going to get, so don't come to conclusion based on what happened yesterday, what happened today, and so on and so forth, because it's a developing event. We all know today China decided to retaliate. And then there is a, great fall in the European market, Indian market. I don't know what is the US market, but US market future was in the red despite yesterday heavy bleeding. It seems there's a further bleeding today, 3.27, what we call a Nasdaq, 3.02 S&P 500, and Dow Jones 2.7. Why? Because China sets 34% tariff on the US. So what I say now can become a redundant in next half an hour. That's the kind of scenario we are living in. Because things are dynamic, things are coming from out of blue, anything can come, both positive or the negative. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simplify the complete tariff first. How it has been calculated, what is the logic behind that, what is the end date to this tariff, if at all there is this one. Will this tariff fix, or there could be a variation, there could be a change in the tariff, and so on and so forth. And of course, since it's a first week of month also, we do equity outlooks. I'll give you briefly some data, and then we'll open the floor for a question answer. Amir, this question answer has to go a little longer. Why? Because my presentation will be little longer because of tariff. So please bear in mind, we will not cut short our Q&A. And that's a message for Jason also. Jason, you are ready for that?
Yes, we are ready for this.
Okay. Small disclaimer: this presentation only to enhance your understanding about the equity market. Please read the offer tokens very carefully. Past performance is no indicator of future returns, and investment in securities market are subject to market risk. So how much, first we need to always get the context right. How much does the US import of the global imports? I must tell you, it's declining. In the beginning of this century, it was near about 20%. As of today, it's near about 13%. And it will further go down because of the new tariff. So, when the world economy grows at 3.2%, if the US grows at 2% anyway, we understand what percentage share US is accounting. Is it going to increase? It's going to increase. It's decreasing. And I don't understand the logic behind this tariff, if you ask me very honestly. I think it's a great recipe for the US to have this kind of a tariff. On one hand, you might think that I'll be able to, do arm twisting and will get people online with me, I think it may counterfire. And that's right now what looks like for the US. And what is the logic that has been given by the this one? The logic is that the US has a trade deficit of near about 1.2 trillion. I want to harp on the word goods. If you look at this word goods, so there is no tariffing import on the services. So IT software, no tariff. So services part is not come under tariff regime, but it's only for the goods. Now, one of the logic that has been given by the US for imposing this tariff is that the way India wants to be Atmanirbhar Bharat, US also wants to become an Atmanirbhar. They call it MAGA, making America great again. And one of the logic that has been given that if you look at the defense companies upstream, US does not have anything. They are reliant on foreign adversaries. In other words, tomorrow if US has to go for a fight and if the raw material does not come, US can run out of arms and ammunitions to take on the enemy. And that's the one thing which so they want to do manufacturing, give more employment to the local people. But remember, this doesn't happen overnight. Even if I decide to set up a factory in the US, depending upon what kind of factory I'm talking about, it will take me about minimum 9 to 12 months. And number one. Number two, is it going to be cost effective? The kind of labor you get in other parts of the world and the kind of labor cost that you have is it going to be the land cost and the other cost? Is it? And today, the world is making for the world. For example, whether it's in India, whether it's in China, whether it's Japan or someone, they make it for the world. So your economies of scale have a different level altogether. But when you set up a factory only for the US, your scale is not that big. So your economies of scale is not going to be there. Today morning I was discussing someone, सब कुछ तो US ही consume करता है भाई सब कुछ नहीं करता ना US. So when you set up a factory, keeping global in the mind, the whole world in the mind, you will set up, I'm just giving an example, 10 million pieces. But when you set up a factory only in the US for the US, it could be 1 million, it could be 2 million. And the economies of scale for 10 million is quite different compared to 1 or 2 million. So I think the US has to really think aloud. ये कहते हैं ना, आ बिल मुझे मार, अपने पैर पे कुहाड़ी मारना. That's something similar goes well with the US. And I think somewhere even US is not very sure what it wants to achieve in this whole process. I'll come to that, what US believe can happen, which no one believes. Now there's a lot of confusion. When does this tariff comes into picture? The tariff comes into picture, not on live. It was supposed to go live on 2nd. That's what the Trump was saying. The 10% which has been applied to each and every region of the world, and there's a memes going around. Given some of the countries where there is no production, there is nothing there. These countries also have a 10% tariff actually. It kicks in from 5th April, which is tomorrow. And the additional, for example, India will have 26%. The additional 16% will come in effect from 9th April. So from tomorrow, the 10% will come across all this one, and additional, whatever the country specific, will kick in from the 9th April. So it's not coming from yesterday. Of course, the carnage has started happening from yesterday. How long this tariff will be applicable? There is no end date. If you go through the document thoroughly, there is no end date. As long as the US believe that that country is fairly treating me, they might try to reduce or do away with that. But there is no end date. There is not that it's for 3 months, it's there for 6 months, it's there for 1 year, it's there for 2 years, 3 years. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. It's absolutely loud and clear in that document. as and when Trump believes that I should reduce or I should increase or I should make it nil, then it will happen. Uska koi not, it's in right now it seems like it's in perpetuity. That's not going to happen in real life. But is this tariff final? The answer is clearly no. How other countries react to this is going to get decided whether there is a more tariff coming in for that country or there is a less tariff coming in for this. So these tariffs are not final. Please don't be under the impression that this has been cast in the stone and this is final. As I told you, it's a developing event. Every day something new will come and you need to brace for that new event, whether it's positive or negative, and that is when that is going to happen. Is there an exemption? Of course there are exemptions, like some of the auto parts which has been levied have been exempted in the new tariff. It doesn't mean that old tariff goes away, like steel and aluminum imports and so on and so forth. Copper, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors and lumber articles are exempted as of now. But today, there is a news that Trump has made a statement that tariff on pharma may come soon. And today we all know that pharma companies did well yesterday. Today they have cracked. Bullion is exempted and certain energy and certain minerals which are not available in the United States, they have been exempted from the tariff. Please note this exemption, the list of exemption can either expand or decline in the coming days. There is nothing called cast in the stone. So never. In fact, yesterday I was doing this presentation on tariff and made it very clear cut. Like, yesterday textile company moved up. Why make textile companies moved up? Those who export, in the assumption that the import from Vietnam will become costly. Import from Bangladesh will become costly. Arey bhai, jaruri nahi na. If they reduce the tariff, what would happen? Then again the product will become cheaper. And remember, some of the countries that seriously depend on those forex revenue, they can't afford to lose that business. So that's why, this tariff is not 1 + 1 = 2 kind of a scenario, or 1 - 1 = 0. It's a simple mathematical nahi hai. It's not a unidimensional, it's a multidimensional thing. And hence we need to be very, very careful about this. Don't come to conclusion based on ye hua to ye hai. There are many things which are at play, and that's going to impact the businesses and the sectors. And of course, I'll tell you how to play this in my last part of my presentation. Now let's talk about the India. What US believe? US believe that if India removes the certain trade barriers, US exports to India can increase by 5.3 billion annually. We all know in the budget, some whiskey, bourbon whiskey tariff has been reduced. From 1st April, digital tax has been removed. The high-end bike, the tariff has been reduced. Sorry, not removed, reduced. Sorry for the whiskey also, I stand corrected. So, the US believes it's more can happen and 5.3 billion exports can come to India. We need to wait and watch. We need to take these numbers with a pinch of salt. I must tell you, India has not yet issued any official statement on this. India is completely in a wait and watch mode. India is the only country in the world which is having a bilateral trade or discussion with the US. So India is looking at in a very measured manner, they are looking at it. They want to see what is possible, what is not possible, how much we can, bargain to make it much, much better. So that's how the India's response has been. It's a very surprising thing if you read this. The only few people in the US believe that tariff is beneficial for them. And how? they believe that US consumer will get benefit of this. In fact, they say there is no meaningful impact on the US consumer, which I tend to disagree 100%. Second thing, they said 10% tariff would increase the economy at 7.728 billion, will create 2.8 million jobs and raise the real household income by 5.7%. हम लोग बोलते हैं ख्याली पुलाव, ये ख्याली पुलाव बन गया है. And very soon we will realize, and I was discussing with someone, if the whole world decides to say, we can't take this kind of a dictatorship from the US, come what may, we will not export to the US. Where would the US will get the goods and goods from? Where would it get? Do they have in-house capacity? The answer is no. They will basically face a very tough time in terms of this one. So my sense is that people does know okay, it's a different kind of a this one. They can play hardball, and China has actually done the hardball. Let's see what happens now. Who blinked the first? I think that's what is going to be the thing one. And US can't afford to show that they are on the weak wicket. So we will see a lot of exciting time, and of course some concerns for the market also based on this. What can one expect from the Trump? So once this has been done, I think he will also come out with some soothing factor for the US people. How? It's part of his election agenda. He will announce some tax cuts, exemption from taxes on tips and social security benefits, and more deregulation in the US economy. So Trump is not done yet. He will announce it because he also need to create feel-good factor for the local economy, because जिस तरह से मार्केट गिरा यूएस का, डेफिनेटली सेंटीमेंट वुड बी बेटर. कल कुछ 3-3.5-4% गिरा, आज 3.5%, 9-10% 1-2 दिन में गिरना, इट्स नॉट अ स्मॉल डिक्लाइन, एंड द मार्केट डज इम्पैक्ट द सेंटीमेंट वेदर वी लाइक इट और नॉट. The question that comes to us, because we need to always be fair in our life, am I right? Is the US the only one who is behaving like this? The answer is no. The whole world is now talking about Atmanirbhar. I think somewhere हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, विश्वगुरु, India is becoming a विश्वगुरु, ये महीने में बन रहा है. India started about Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think the whole world wants to move in that direction. The complete globalization as a concept has become deglobalization. Each and every country want to see how we can improve our domestic manufacturing. Previously was the outsourcing was the name of the game. Why? Because outsourcing was making the goods and services cheaper. And hence you get the benefit, so you can keep the inflation low and so on and so forth, and benefit of that. And there's a lot of material available on the net, so you can read that. So I don't want to bore you with that. But the things are changing. US is not the only one. Let me give you an example. India has already imposed duties on industrial equipment from China. It's considering duties on steel ore, because steel has been asking for it. Brazil has slapped anti-dumping duty tariff on Chinese iron and steel and fiber optic cables. So while US has done lock, stock and barrel, some countries are doing on a product specific. Gulf Cooperation Council imposed 42% on Chinese electrical parts, 42%. And Indonesia is considering 200% tariff on Chinese textile and garments. These are a few examples I'm giving you. It's not exhaustive list. So various countries are doing, and of course there is a retaliated tariff being announced by Canada on the US and today China. So that everyone is talking about, want to protect their turf. So what is reciprocal tariff country by country? 67% China. That the US believe that tariff charge to the US by China is 67%, and hence they did half of that, 34%. India is 52%, 26%. So what is that calculation? Why China is 67%, EU is 39%, I'm talking about this number. Japan is 46%, Vietnam is 90%, and so on and so forth. Bangladesh 74 and 37, that's why reciprocal. And what the Trump is saying, I'm doing favor to this player. Why? Because they are charging 67%, I'm only charging 34%. I'm doing favor to these countries. So what is the calculation of this? Someone has to really figure it out, or maybe put a subject matter, okay, how you can impose the import duty. What is the logic for import duty? What is this? Trade deficit divided by the US import bill. For example, India का 52 है. So if India's, I'm just giving a very simple this one. India's trade deficit, trade deficit of the US from the India is 52. Or maybe, okay, let me put it this one. So it's multiplied by 100 है उसने किया है उसने. तो 52% हुआ basically. So if India trade deficit with India is 100, okay, dollar. I'm just giving a simple example. And the US import bill, which US import from India is near about 52 निकालना है तो let me put it, just change the number a little bit. So just to get the number right actually. Or maybe okay, let me put it 200. So 50% मिल गया मुझे. 100 divided multiplied 200. So that number would be 52 है, तो maybe I will put it 104 divided by 200. So I will get it 200. So trade deficit, let me simplify further. Sorry, I confused you. My apology. Trade deficit with India, this for the US I'm talking about, is $104. And India total, the US import from India total $200. So 104 divided by 200 will give me 52%. That's what the deficit will calculate. In other words, this 90% for Vietnam, that gives an idea that trade deficit is much higher with Vietnam, which we all know that's the case. And that's how, so where there is a trade deficit higher, divided by US import bill is a formula that has been derived. It's not a very scientific formula. It's the first time in the history someone has decided this is the way I'm going to put the import duty. There's no logic. There is a logic, but defy the logic. That logic. Who are the largest exporters? Mexico, China, India is only 91.2 billion. This is for calendar year 2024 because I was discussing Mohit and Mohit has some different numbers. The only difference could be because of the period. Well, Mohit was referring to FY 2024, I was referring to calendar year 2024. So don't get confused. You need to look at two data numbers because there are a lot of data available now floating on the social media. This data is for the 2024 calendar year with 91.2 US billion. What other exports India does, I think everyone knows. I don't want to waste my time. How did the global market react to this now, since yesterday and today? The Mexico, which is the largest exporter to the US, you can look at this. Am I right? The Mexican market has not behaved badly. In fact, it's in the green in last 2 days. The China market is relatively stable, which is second largest exporter to the US. The Kospi, South Korea is another one, 1.61. Indian Nifty is relatively stable. And you look at what happened today. If I include today also, Nasdaq and Nikkei and this one, they must be quite bad actually. Nikkei has been included, but not the Nasdaq. Okay, Nasdaq ka aaj ka fall is not included because the data slide has been made before the US market open. So that's why it's not included. How did the Indian market behave? Bank Nifty is in green. Nifty FMCG is in green. Nifty Finance is in green. Those who remember my equity outlook 2025 will understand what I was saying. What are the sectors we talk about? 3 sectors. Banks and finance, FMCG and infra. Infra is still negative, 2.41 as you can see. Am I right? But they will come back strongly and they should. What is the theme that is looking very clearly? The sector which are more focused on India have less exposure to the US or to the global market are doing well. because there is an uncertain. People don't want to know what's going to happen, how it's going to play out. So let's play more domestic theme or domestic story than the international story. Very quickly, what happened in the month of March? Okay, the advance decline ratio improved because 3 months in a row we had seen a decline, improved almost 6-7% gain we saw in the market, but it's not as good as what it used to be. In April we used to have 1.3, in the June we had 1.3, then we had July, August 1.1, again in November 1.1, and March is only 1.05. It's better, but not still the best. Market cap continued to remain, of course, while it did move up by near about 30 lakh crore, but still far below from 475 lakh crore that we saw in the month of September. So we are still near about 60 lakh crore, which is near about 12-13% still below from the all-time high market cap. Turnover continues to remain, cash turnover, this is on NSE, continues to remain below 1 lakh crore. That clearly gives that the rally that we saw in the month of March was not very strong volume. So even if you look at the mark to market as compared to the FAB, this number would have come. So in other words, actually there is no real kind of a activity which is increased in the month of March. That means, in other words, the market did move up, but not on the higher volume. I would be very happy. So I think we should all get a sense that this rally is going to get sustained when the volume again bounce back strongly. In other words, more people are willing to buy and sell at the higher prices. How did the indices perform in the month of March? Clearly, PSU was the name of the game. Commodity did well, PSU Bank did well, metal did well, but metal did give up some of the gain. Mid and small cap outperformed the large cap. Why? Because mid and small cap are out by almost 8% versus the Nifty and Sensex, which are up by near about 6%. Bank Nifty did well, Nifty Pharma did well, but Nifty IT was the worst performer. And one reason is very clearly, there is a strong belief that if the US has to slow down, the spending power in the US will come down, and that's going to impact it. Which are the stocks which did well in the Nifty 50 in March 2000? On this side, IndusInd Bank purely because of corporate governance issue, but look at Zomato. You see more technology companies, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, and so on and so forth. And the green that you see is more of a PSU pack that did well actually. And Tata still did well despite the tariff concern. Okay. FII continued selling in the market. Fortunately, the pace of selling is coming down. 78,000 crore they sold in the month of Jan, which came down to 34,000 net sale, and it came down to only 4,000 crore in the month of March. And total in 2025, the total selling has been 1.24 lakh crore. On the other hand, DI in first 3 months have invested 1.89 lakh crore. Of course, if you look at it, the buying from the DI also been reduced. 86,000 crore, which came down to 64,000 crore, and further came down to 37,000 crore. So while the selling from the FPI has come down, the net selling, the buying from the DI also has come down. How did the US market versus the Indian market did in the month of March? Indian market outperformed the US market. Indian market went up by 7%, while the Nasdaq, S&P, and Dow Jones, they all closed in the green. Rupee, which was a concern for every one of us, I'm happy to tell you that Rupee has appreciated in a 2025 by 0.35%. So when I compare the gain in the Indian market versus the US market in 2025, Indian market has outperformed significantly to the US market, even in dollar terms. So those who wanted to diversify it, go out of India and so on and so forth, I think this data will help them to understand what has happened. Historically, the market has given positive returns in the month of April. I don't expect that to happen in April 2025. The economy seems to be doing reasonable. And see, I must tell you, the data is a little confusing to me. On one hand, the GST collection has been very, very strong, 1.96 lakh crore, which is very similar to what we had in month of Jan, and better than the Y-on-Y 1.7 and even the month-on-month. So that's a good number. STT revenue this year has been 53,000 crore purely because of the market. If the market sentiment is going to be little low, I think this revenue will not be as robust as it will there. Petrol and diesel consumption, you look at it, it's down actually. So I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to understand if the economy is doing well, while the petrol consumption should be down. That really surprises me. 3,428,000 million metric tons. It came down to 3,129. So let's 3 months in a row. We have something similar happen in petrol, something similar happen in diesel also. 8,166 has come down to 7,343. And I suspect when the data for March would be available in the public domain, it would have further come down. One good thing is happening in the whole this one is that crude is $65 as I speak to you. But even when I look at the basket for the full month, we are at $72 crude oil per barrel, and this is 1 year low. You can see that because the low that we saw in September 73.7, we are much below that now. And for the month of April, I think it will further low. Why it's beneficial for India? Because it helps in terms of inflation, it helps in terms of saving forex, and so on and so forth. Electronic toll collection. So again, as I told you, it's clearly confusing to me. While on one hand, petrol and diesel consumption are down, but the toll collection is up. वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Because if more people moved from one place to another place, the toll collection should have been. So if it's higher, then petrol consumption, diesel consumption should also been higher. But I don't know how it is basically explained this actually. 5% growth month on month, but it's 5602. It's gone up. So that's a good thing. But again, I'm not able to tally the match there. E-way bill on the other hand is down. This is for the month of Feb. It's not available for the month of March. Vehicle data coming out. You can see there is a clear-cut variance available. For example, car, this is for the full year. Company like Maruti show that sales increased by 2.7, Mahindra 20%, but Tata Motors, Hyundai show a decline. Something similar happened in commercial vehicle, Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland declined, Mahindra reported growth. In heavy commercial vehicle, everything declined. And of course, in tractors, because of the good monsoon, both M&M and Escorts have seen. It has been a mixed bag in FY 2025 for this one. So how do we see the market now? And then we'll open the floor for question answer. News flow will keep coming in. And market will have a knee-jerk reactions. I want to focus on the word knee-jerk reactions. Zyada samjhe bina, market is going to react. Please remember, tariff is going to have a significant impact on the world economy. Trade will decline. Hence, you need to be very, very careful what kind of company or sector you are taking exposure to. A lot of countries will go now in a bilateral trade agreement. India has been doing with that. You know that. We have revived with EU, which is going to get signed by end of this calendar year. Bilateral trade is anyway happening with the US, and maybe most probably we'll have it by August. We are discussing with New Zealand, which was in a cold storage for quite some time, has again been revived. We all know that UK was about to sign when Rishi Sunak was the Prime Minister, and now again has been revived, and so on and so forth. I think every country will going to do that. Okay, and due to that, based on the news flow, it's going to impact the sentiment. US is still not done with the tariff. As I was saying, the pharma. Expect more news coming in from the US. Till now, it's only on the goods. Who knows? Tomorrow it can come on the services also. So be careful of that. We believe that take shelter in the large cap. In our PMS, more than 90% is in the large cap. Why? Because our IP suggesting that mid and small cap still will have a lot of problem. My advice to all of you, because everyone has this one, please do not venture out without understanding the impact and take more of the mid and small cap companies. Because the fall could be very big and very substantial in the mid and small cap companies. And within large cap, focus on the domestic rather than the export theme. So, okay, what we are doing in our peers, I'm telling you so that you, if you wish, you can take a cue from there. We are exposed to the banks and NBFCs because they're more domestic story. RBI is going to do the rate cut. It did in Feb. It's going to do in April next week also. So that's a domestic story. We are invested in telecom companies, hospital, some of the telecom tower companies in our PMS. So do have a pharma, where one pharma has an exposure to the US market, but another pharma is more a domestic play. So we have a mix of company. We have one retailer. We have a mix of companies which are more domestic theme. So what I wish to convey in this webinar, what should be your strategy? Very simple. I don't want to make it complicated. Stick to the large cap theme, and within large cap theme, stick to the domestic theme. The company whose revenues are substantially driven by the local, not by the export. And as if you do that, I can tell you, you will be able to reduce the drawdown in your portfolio. This is not the market. Let me take an IPL as this one. This is not the time to hit sixes and fours. This is a time to preserve your wicket. Market will give you an opportunity. रन बनाने का opportunity देगा, पर अभी ये रन बनाने का time नहीं है. Okay, so my request to all of you, please be careful what you get. In fact, in January 2025, it made a very loud and clear statement. The kind of wealth that you made in 2023 and 2024, you are not going to make that kind of money in 2025. In fact, the challenge for you all will be, how do I preserve that what you did in 2020, 2024? And many of you will see that what you did in 2020, 2024, what you made, you are going to give away that gain in 2025. It's a market will test your patience. Market will test your knowledge. Many retail investors started thinking that they have become experts in the market. I think for them, it would be a little root shock for them. So with this, over to you, Jason.
Okay. Starting off with this first question by Jignesh. What felt like Tariq pe Tariq is now tariff pe tariff? Do you think other countries will retaliate? Would India retaliate?
So that's a good one. I think you are very big of Sunny Deol. So yes, tariff पे tariff होगा. China has retaliated. India, no. India, if you look at the body language, if you look at the way what we did in the budget, what we did in the parliament when the budget got passed in the month of April, message is loud and clear. We are going to act very tactfully. India is unlikely to retaliate. Of course, this is based on today. We don't know what future. If Trump behaves more erratic, India can also do that. See, look at it. Not a single government official has made any statement for or against this tariff. So India is basically taking a very measured approach. Sometimes the beauty in life is that you don't have to react to everything in life. And that's what India is doing. So I think I must tell you, India is playing a very smart strategy here. They know there is a pain in the short term, but they are playing very smart manner. And I think a lot of heads off to our people, those who are in Delhi think tank. I think they are doing very smart thing here, and that's the right thing to do also. Retaliate करने के फायदा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. See, आप किसी, it's like this. When you are in a boxing ring, You may be a champion of the world, but आपको अपन आपको एक दो तो मारेगा ही. आप बोलते हो मुझको वो भी खाने की क्षमता नहीं है, then you cannot be the champion, am I right? I think this is the way India is going to behave, right? बोलता है, yes, we will take some blow, no problem. But they know when to, how to navigate this. And I think India is very smart. India is the only country, as I told you, is bilateral talk with the US, not now, because they knew that is coming in. Very, very foresighted that and then. In fact, Piyush Goyal was in US to see how best we can navigate this kind of stuff. So my sense is that India is not going to retaliate. On the contrary, India will see in a manner that we come out as a winner in the whole process.
Okay. Moving to this next question by Jacob Jose. Metals crashed big time today. We have some stocks in the model portfolios too. Is it time to exit from metals now?
So Jacob sir, we will tell you when to exit. The reason why they've cracked, I'll tell you why. Because of there is a fear of slowdown in the global economy, and metal is a function of the growth in the global economy. If the growth comes down, demand for metal will come down, and demand for metal comes down. That's a one. Second thing, there is a fear of dumping happening, and that's another reason that this one. If it's in the model portfolio, it's our responsibility to tell you when to exit. So we'll tell you, Jacob sir. I must clarify here, since Jacob sir has asked, we do own one metal company in our PMS also. We continue to hold that company. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, this next question by Anil Bansal. Could the drop in fuel consumption be due to ethanol blending? What's your view on this?
No. So I think someone asked, but I don't think that's had that been the case, the ethanol blending is not happening now. Am I right, sir? So if you go back to this data here, where is it? Yeah, can you just go this? Then like some places we saw the spike also. Am I right? Like here also we saw a spike actually. So the ethanol blending has been happening not now. It's been happening for many months and many years now. Nothing to do with the ethanol blending. I don't think so. And it's not the government of India has increased the ethanol blending. I will not be surprised. The ethanol blending makes sense. When the crude is high. And Puri has made a statement that they might consider, reducing the price of petrol and diesel. So we need to wait and watch actually, because the price of crude has really come down, which is that. I don't think this kind of a fall could be because of ethanol blending. I don't think so. But since you have asked me, maybe remind me next month, next webinar, I'll tell you what is the blending, because this question kept being asked in the parliament. I'll take it out in the parliament. What was the reply given by the minister in terms of blending? I don't think the blending has gone up. It has remained, if at all, it would have remained the same than what it was there maybe 5-6 months back. I don't think the blending has gone up, and because of that, the petrol and diesel consumption has come down. I don't think so.
Okay. Moving on to the next question by Mahesh. What are the prospects of US market in a year's time frame? Any opinion?
So Mahesh sir, थोड़ा tough लग रहा है. I'm not an expert on the US market, neither am I an expert on the Indian market also, to be very honest with you. But what I understand is that मैंने क्या बोला, आवेल मुझे मार, अपने पैर पे कुहाड़ी मारना. That's exactly what Trump seems to be doing it. Sometimes you think I'm doing a smart thing, but in fact, you realize how bad it was. In fact, I was listening to yesterday Nilesh Shah of Kotak AMC, and he was saying that he got something on the WhatsApp on his mobile, and he was saying, this was on TV channel, he was saying that the US did tariff in the interval of 100 days every time, the tariff hike. And whenever they did tariff hike, the US ran into a problem. And he also made a statement that people are not there for the next 100 days to remember the tariff hike, the previous tariff hike. So the history suggests that it's not in the favor, assuming that what Nilesh Bhai said is actually true data. Am I right? So I think the prospect of US is not very bright. It's bleak actually.
Okay, this next question by Madhusudan. Why is crude oil prices not reflecting in the petrol prices on ground?
सर वो मार्केट ड्रिवन नहीं है ना. The Madhusudan, that's why I said that Hardeep Puri has made a statement very recently that if the price of crude remain little low, they might decrease the price of petrol and diesel. So that's what has happened. But otherwise, right now it's a control by the government. So even though it's a deregulated, technically it's not deregulated. Otherwise, actually, if it is a deregulated, the price should have moved up and down daily based on the what's happening on the crude oil. It's not happening. Am I right? So the reason why it's not reflecting because it's not deregulated.
Okay. Picking this next question. There are some sectors or industries that do not export and therefore are immune from tariff. Example, cement and finance. Am I correct in assuming this, or there are some secondary interactions?
Secondary interactions. Okay, I don't know what do you mean by the second part, but you are right. So the finance doesn't have any competition. Banks, as I said, no. Telecom, for example, no. FMCG, for example, consumption basically no. Capital goods and infra, no. Okay, but cement. So cement. The problem with the cement is that yes, you can't export cement. In fact, the guy from south cannot basically send the cement to the north because the logistic costs are very high. It's a bulky commodity. Yeah, right, but the cement problem is demand supply. The supplies, everyone wants to be number one or number two. The supply is very, and it's every year that capacities are increasing. And demand is a challenge. तो मुझे लगता है कि don't just play blindly the domestic theme. Then also you need to apply the demand supply situation to make a sense. So as I again repeat for the benefit of everyone, those who have joined a little late, the banks and finance, FMCG, and capital goods and infra. These are the three sectors which looks like more promising for rest of 2025.
Okay, this question by Sidaram. What should be our strategy with the IT sector? Any opinion on that?
Sir, stay away. My humble request to all of you, please stay away. I think we could see more pain when the 10th April, India is one of the leading IT software company will declare the numbers. I don't expect the commentary to be very happy commentary. So my advice would be please stay away, Sir Ramji.
Okay, moving to this next question. Yeah, this is by M. Putamkar. Dear sir, the news is that this year India will face extreme heat from the summer season, due to which power generation, transmission, distribution companies will be in focus. My question is, do these companies have pricing power? If no, then how the appreciation in stock price would be expected from such companies?
So I don't think that. So the one way you can get a pricing power, you sell your power on the exchange, IEX and so on and so forth. But there also government has put some limits. So then there is a beyond point, you can't get that price also. But the volume would be good. So I think you can play the volume game in that case. So even though the price may not be high, but you can play the volume game. And that's where it can benefit. That's the thing. So that's a good observation. But you can also play summer not only by power generation companies. You can also play summer by looking at air conditioner company, a refrigerator company, water cooler, air cooler, pankha, and so on and so forth. This is the way also you can play that. So why to restrict only to one theme? You can expand the theme. So Nasdaq has recovered. Sorry, Jason, 1 minute. Nasdaq has now 2.89 down. S&P 500 2.92 down, and Dow Jones is 2.61% down. But they were relatively now better as compared to what they were some time back. Or is it my app is not updated? Let me just go back again. Sorry, I stand corrected. The Nasdaq is down by 4%. S&P 500 is also down by 3.75%, and Dow Jones is down by 3.17%. So I think yes, there is a pain in the US market. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandesh has asked that could we invest in the India growth story stocks such as railway and the defense sector as well?
So we do own defense in our PMS. You can be careful with what you get into because defense is a very broad base. Okay, so be careful with that. You use our score as a guide to you. Railway still, so when I read more and more about the railway companies, the commentary, somewhere people wants to, they're not, the comment is not coming out very happy there. Either पैसा थोड़ा डिले मिल रहा है या थोड़ा गवर्नमेंट का टेंडर थोड़ा स्लो है. तो my advice would be don't go overboard on the salary. Defense, yes, be stock specific, but yes, you can look at the exposure.
Okay, I think Mr. Sunil, you've answered this particular thing, but a lot of investors are also asking the effect on the pharma sector as well.
तो फार्मा सर अभी तक कुछ नहीं हुआ. But Trump made a statement that we should expect tariff coming on the pharma. तो वो आएगा, and in anticipation of that, because of this news, the pharma company, yesterday pharma company was very strong, but today they gave up all the gain. So my sense is please stay away from the pharma at this point of time. See, जहाँ पे अनसर्टेनिटी है, जहाँ पे आपका फोकस आउटसाइड इंडिया है, उस सेक्टर में थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट है. And plus, rupee is appreciated, as I told you, against the dollar in the 2025, 0.34%. So, in other words, your revenue in the rupee terms will also be. Otherwise, क्या होता है? The rupee depreciates, you get more. For same dollar, you get more rupee. So that's another factor. So right now, my advice would be stay away from pharma. Of course, you can look at those pharma companies which have domestic focus. One company which we had recommended in our power series that we did with Mohit and I did in one of the Saturdays, that one pharma company is a more domestic focus company.
Okay. Moving on to this next question by Mayur. Dear Mr. Damania ji, if some new investor wants to start, will you recommend to wait a month or two for this volatility to subside? Or can we start with the journey?
Mayur sir, timing the market is extremely difficult. Assume that market further goes down. I'm just making an assumption. Will you have a guts to put that level? Because at that point of time, you believe or you will feel it can further go down. So timing the market is futile. What if at all you want? They're not very sure. You ask a little. This one, do simple thing. Divide your investment into 2 or 3 tranches. So you start your journey, investment journey, in an installment, 2 or 3 maximum. But start the journey. Don't delay the journey. Delay the start of the journey. That's what my request would be.
Okay, this question by RV. It is often seen that equity markets go up very slowly, but the fall, whenever it comes, is mostly drastic, thereby wiping away the gains that a patient investor painstakingly made. What learning do we take from this? Please enlighten us on how to handle this.
So RB said that's why they said nah. To create something it takes years, and to destroy it takes only few seconds. That applied to the world, and that applies to the stock market also. So what are the learnings we need to take? The learning is very simple. If the company is fundamentally good, it will bounce back even despite going down. So focus on the fundamentally strong company, number one. Number two, look at the valuations. Sometimes fundamentally good companies also, if you got into the wrong price, it will take years even to come to the price which you bought it actually. Years I'm talking about, not the quarters or days or months. So the learning is very simple. Keep evaluating your portfolio. Reason why you bought that company, does it that reason continues to hold true even as on today or not? I'll give you a classical example. One of our stock of the week was one automobile company. I don't want to mention that company because others, non-paid members are also there in this webinar. The company did not achieve the target and we still closed it. Because we realized the reason why we recommend that company that reason no longer holds true. We close the call at loss. So learning is that have patience. The where story is very strong, you are convinced of the story. Get out of the company where story is not strong. Even if you book losses, book losses. Okay, and that's how you should handle it. And I've kept saying many times in my last 3-4 years webinar, booking losses is extremely difficult. It hurts our ego. How can I be wrong? और second fear you don't want to book losses के बॉस मैंने बेच दिया और फिर स्क्रिप्ट ऊपर चला गया तो क्या? And give you a very classical example. So I was with someone today morning and I was discussing with him. He said, Sunil bhai, मैंने टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग किया मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप में. तकलीफ ये हुआ कि टैक्स हार्वेस्टिंग के चक्कर में वो स्क्रिप्ट वापस ऊपर चला गया 20-25%. Then he gave me one cement company, is very small size cement company. तो मतलब वही होता है. You cannot basically, the learning is that why you want to exit has to be really defined. Tax harvesting cannot be the reason to exit, am I right? So the same way, the reason to hold that company has to be strong enough. You should convince of that. So I'll give another classical example. We own one retail company in our PMS. And the first month when we bought this company, it underperformed. And then we're debating what should we do and so on and so forth. Some of our customers also question that why are you, because the company has not come out with the good numbers and so on and so forth in the recent past. Then we said, why did we buy this company? Is this logic remains there in the place or not? And then we realized, yes, the logic remains there. As on today, the script is up by about on an average 8.5% of our portfolio. Average I'm talking about. Someone would be 10%, would be 6% this particular. Versus the benchmark. So had I not put that money in that particular company and had I put in the benchmark, this is BSE 500, the benchmark is down by 2.5%. Against with this company is up by 8.5%. So why reason to hold or exit should never be the price movement. The reason to hold or exit is because is there a change in the fundamental story of that company or the sector, and based on that you should take. So once you keep this framework very simple, RB sir, you don't need Sunil Damania, because so that's why I said clarity of thoughts are very critical because otherwise when there is no lack of clarity, you will swing by the market movement, you will swing by the market sentiment, and that's detrimental to your health.
Okay, this next statement by Kishore. Thank you for an insightful data and presentation. With so much of uncertainty, what do you expect Nifty levels by December?
So, you go back to my equity outlook, and I will request every one of you, वो डाउनलोड करके रख दो आपके पास इक्विटी आउटलुक 2025 वाला, and keep listening to as and when you get confused about the market. I'm happy to inform you that first 3 months has played out exactly the way we had predicted about 2025. तो उसमें हमने बताया हुआ है what is the probable gain the market can give in 2025. Please go through that, Kishore sir. And I think this YouTube पे आप चले जाओगे तो वो वीडियो भी मिलेगा आपको हमारा इक्विटी आउटलुक वाला 2025 वाला.
Hey Jayanta sir, Namaste Sunil ji, your insights are valuable. Could you please enlighten us as to why British pound is doing well versus Indian rupee in spite of their economy not doing well relative to India?
I don't have an idea, sir, to be very frank. So I'm not an forex expert, sir. And it's also news to me that the British pound is doing better as compared to the Indian rupee. I have no idea, sir. If you allow me a few days, maybe when I come next time, maybe I can study and I can come back to you. But frankly speaking, I don't have any idea on this, sir. But in fact, I had one slide in my presentation which I removed. I'll present some other day. So what I did actually, what is the gain the various indices across the world made in FY 2025. FY 2025 because just got over, am I right? तो डेटा मैंने निकाला and then I looked at it, okay, कि what happened to the economy, the GDP growth of that country, am I right? वो great हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? And what I came as a surprise is that some of the country where GDP growth has been low or weak, they did better in FY 2025 in terms of the what we call market. And let me give you one data on that. Of course, not in part of my presentation, but this data is there. So I'm just searching for that slide now because I removed that. For example, Germany, the German economy is in a slowdown. It's a known fact, minus 0.02 for the 2024. The German market gave 19.1% return, local currency. 19.1% return. Indian market, Indian economy did 6.5% growth, likely to, for this financial year. The return is only 5.3. So sometimes, and France on the other hand, it grew higher than the Germany, 1.1, but the France, the index is down by 5.4%. So sometimes, there are no kind of a apple to apple comparison that you can do. Okay, GDP has done well, so this is that, and so on and so forth. Something same applies to the currency also. But anyway, I'll come back with more precise answer why British pound is doing better as compared to the Indian rupee.
This question by Devashish. Everyone is talking about recession in US and result of market corrections all over the world. Are we in a 2008-like crisis?
So as of now, no, sir. Doesn't look like that we are in a 2008 kind of a scenario. In fact, yesterday I was talking to my PMS customer and I was telling them, I would not be surprised if we stop talking about tariff in the month of July, 3 months down the line. So I don't think US is going to go into recession. There will be a slowdown in the US economy. Probability of US going into recession is only 10% in 2025. Okay, so I don't think, let's not try to stretch too much on this. Don't think 2008 is going to be, it's well in a similar situation like 2008. I don't want to unnecessarily create panic for you people. I'll be very honest with you. So right now, don't read too much between the line, Devasis.
Okay, this question by Akash. Hello, sir. Just wanted to know how much loss one can expect in their portfolio compared to the index to be noted as a good performance.
So it's depending upon what kind of portfolio construct that you have. If you have taken more mid and small cap, and if it falls by only 10%, you have done a good job. Kind of a stuff, am I right? It's also a function of large cap kitna exposure hai, sectoral kitna exposure, and so on and so forth. So what I would request all of you is that don't look at monthly, 3 months, 6 months. कोई मायने नहीं रखता उसका. So what you should do, what is your good performance of a portfolio? Never see such a short period of time. Look at in a block of 3 years minimum. And uska drawdown, you said how much is a loss is a good one. Maybe equal to the benchmark or maybe 1.2x of the benchmark is a good one. In other words, just to make it more simpler, suppose the benchmark has gone down by 10%. Up to 12% is fine. That's how we should look at it. But you should look at not only 3 months, 1 month period, in a block of 3 years.
Okay. So next question by Vineet. Trump would want US to go into recession as there's a news that they will default on the national debt because they don't have sufficient money to pay back those debt. What's your opinion on this?
Who made this statement? Sorry, Trump.
No, he's saying that there's news that they will default on US national debt and they don't have sufficient money to pay back that.
I don't know, sir. See, if you look at this kind of a news, there are a lot of news, and today the social media people. So someone asked me the other day, uh, that some experts saying that we are not going to make money and so on and so forth. The problem in this, the whole across the world, if you make a negative news, now it carries headline, it becomes a headline because people are very happy listening to the sad news. People are very happy, get excited with the negative news. कोई आके बोलेगा ना मार्केट विल गो डबल, बोला ठीक है यार वो तो बकवास करा है. When someone will come and make a statement market will go down by 30% also, वहाँ पे 100% गेन की बात करें अपन 30% गेन, our attention will go to 30% decline then the 100% gain. So I don't know what is the source of which reliable agency has published this news. I have no idea. I don't think US is going to default. I think we are trying to extend too much. वो बोलते हैं ना, this is how the brain works. दो दिन US market नीचे क्या चला गया, people talk about defaulting in US and so on and so forth. I don't think so. US is not going to default, sir. Rest assured, at least in 2025 with its.
Okay, we've received a lot of queries by Mr. Siddhant Shah on something regarding the model portfolio report. I've raised this to the feedback team and we'll shortly get back to you on this particular thing. Till then, I'll move to this question by Mr. Prasen. Do you think electric vehicles is affecting petrol, diesel, causing lower consumption?
No, sir, because the kind of penetration that, so total number of vehicles on the road versus the total number of vehicles on the road of EV, बहुत insignificant है, sir. And are we saying that last 3 महीने में बहुत उसका penetration बढ़ गया? No, the decline is almost 10%. Are we saying that? See, don't get confused with the monthly sales with the total population, because not only the new vehicles got sold consume petrol and diesel, जूना भी तो consume करता है ना भाई. So the drop is cannot be. I don't think EV or ethanol blending could be the reason for decline in the petrol and diesel consumption. I don't think so.
Okay, Mr. Sham is a bit worried and saying, good evening, sir. I made a model portfolio before the budget. And since then, I'm booking losses. I'm wondering if this goes on, my capital may get wiped out. Could you please guide?
श्याम सर, मैं आपको लिख के देता हूँ, आपका कैपिटल 100% नहीं होगा. I know this question came during COVID time also, and we addressed that. See, yes, we are booking losses. See, that's what I was saying, ना श्याम सर. प्रॉब्लम क्या है, लॉस बुक नहीं किया तो अच्छा है, लेकिन लॉस बुक कर लिया तो तकलीफ है. Why we are booking losses? Because our IP is suggesting that this company is not going to make money going forward. What's the point? Then move on to the company which has a high probability of making money, ना. Very simple. So मैंने तो बोला है, जैसे सर्फ के एडवर्टाइजमेंट थी, दाग अच्छे हैं, वैसे ही लॉस बुकिंग अच्छा है. Put it this way, don't get caught up because you are booking losses is going to be it's not going to create alpha for you. Don't go into that direction.
Okay, Mr. Sunil, we've covered up most of the questions asked by investors today.
So, do we have questions or we are running short of questions now?
Yeah, we're actually running short of them. I think most of them are covered up. And yeah.
When you say most of them, or all or most of them?
No, I'm saying most of them just for the benefit if I missed a few, but I've actually gone down and checked all of them. I've covered up all of it.
Fair
I
enough.
have a few stock-specific questions, but I'm sorry I wouldn't be able to pick that up in today's event.
You're right, absolutely. I don't talk about stock specific. Jason is the expert. You can ask him in case if you wish to reply to. So with this, thanks a lot everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Don't worry too much about that tariff war. आते रहेगा, आती रहेंगी बहारें, जाती रहेंगी बहारें. That's the kind of stuff. Enjoy your weekend. Please remember, most of you will not ask me any question in the month of July about the tariff. Simple mantra to write this volatility: focus on large cap, focus on domestic theme. बहुत simple है. And if you do that, I think you'll be better off compared to others. Good night. Take care. Thanks a lot, Jason, for hosting this webinar and moderating this panel.
Yeah, thanks a lot everyone for attending today's event. And just a small reminder that all the prices will be changing tomorrow basis our fiscal year new offers. So requesting, if you have not actually extended or subscribed, you can use the link below the video. And thanks a lot and have a great weekend going ahead. Thank you so much.